What has been Howie Roseman's best offseason move? What has been that move? What has been Howie's best move? Let's take a look at it. Drafting Jordan Davis. Signing Kaiser White. Signing Hassan Reddick. Trading for A.J. Brown. Finding C.J., who leads the NFL in interceptions. Still. Getting Bradbury, who should be considered for the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Not trading Landon Dickerson, maybe. Not trading Gardner Minshew. What's been Howie Roseman's best move this past offseason to put this team in a 13-1 position? Best move, what is it? Let's not forget something else here. Xander points this out to me all the time, right, Xander? How about the trade with the Saints to get that first-round pick coming up in April of 23? That thing's a top 10 pick. You might win the Super Bowl and have the 5th pick in the draft. Show me when that's happened last. Right? Look at what Howie's done. He secured the future with that move with the Saints. 2 ones. 2 ones. You're 13-1. And you got a player from the Saints for $836,000 who's leading the NFL in picks. What is the best move that Roseman has made this past offseason? Man, it is. A.J. Brown has. Have you ever, get this. Hey, guys, help me out here. What was the year of the Dream Team? Was that 2012? Was that the Dream Team year with Vince Young and them dudes, Amdi Nasamwa and them guys? Was that the year when all them dudes they brought in and they put on the football team and they made like a ton of moves? 2012, was it? Go back and remember that year when they brought all those dudes in. How many of those guys didn't? Dude, Nnamdi Asomugha was a good player with the Raiders. He came to Philadelphia. He sucked so bad. I couldn't believe it was the same guy. I could not believe it was the same guy. He was terrible. Terrible. That thing turned out to be maybe the beginning and demise of Howie Roseman in a way. I'm curious, what's the top move you think? Bradbury at $5 million. CJ, man, now he's been missing because he's been injured. I have to think it's between Reddick and Bradbury. A corner and a pass rusher. Both panning out. Bradbury should be on the Pro Bowl. Bradbury should be on the Pro Bowl. Should be on the Pro Bowl. Bradbury, I mean, that entire secondary. Dude, when Gardner Johnson comes back, Jesus criminy. Is that a formidable group? I don't know what the status is on his kidney, but that guy is one whale of a football player. And then the pick that he got with the Saints in the first round. Hey, man, I'm going to tell you this. If they don't grab their pass rusher at 5 or say it's a 7, I bet you Howie moves down, gets another 1, and has 3 ones in the first round next year. Incredible. I'll tell you, and I said this yesterday, and I'll continue to say this about Howie Roseman. Howie Roseman is a deal maker. He is a deal maker. And I guess sometimes, and you know who I would compare him to? I don't think you guys know this. Some of you do, and I think I've told Xander this. I had my Series 7. Okay? I have a Series 7. I worked for Bear Stearns. I worked on commodities, and then I worked in acquisitions and mergers. I first started as a broker in Dallas, and then I went to Wall Street. I know. How do you think I could deal with you guys? Because one of the great things, here was my pitch. Hey, this is Dan Sileo from Bear Stearns. How you doing, sir? We've never had a losing quarter in 68 years. We're not like Merrill Lynch. We don't flip you in and out of stocks. We pick 3 stocks a year, Waste Management, Sarah Lee. And we go with those strong companies because we believe in strong companies because that's the backbone of our company with Ace Greenberg. And the guy goes, well, what are you looking for? And I go, well, sir, I'll tell you what. You know Trojan Rubber? And the guy started laughing. And I go like this to him. Yeah, Trojan Rubber was selling at $3.28. I told a client of mine that the CDC is going to come out with recommendations that there's a worldwide pandemic when it comes to AIDS. What do you think that stock went to the next day? The guy goes, what? I go, 17-fold. All he had to do was invest with me $100,000. He would have made $1.7 million. Guy goes, I like your pitch, kid. That's all these whales like. They like the pitch. I used to do that, sit in front of a green and black Quotron. Should have probably stuck with it because that would have made a killing. I was doing well. That's what Howie is. He's a trader. That's why the team from 17 got taken apart, built it back up. Howie doesn't believe in long-term investments. He believes in short-term returns. That's how he looks at his Eagle team. Howie's not looking at 10 years down the line. That's why they're probably going to give Jalen Hurts that 3-year contract. They're looking at the interim time. They're looking at the short-term return on investment. Howie handles himself like a broker. That's right, Sam. Long-term investments, unless you're somebody that's going to go into like annuities or you're going to go into like, retirement funds, those usually get you about 3.5% return. Howie's looking at the return right now. Are you going to be good or not today? You know what Howie's future is when he's building the Eagles? 3 years. That's what the Rams are doing. Hey, get this. Everyone's shitting on the Rams, including me. They won a Super Bowl last year. Is it worth 2 or 3 sucky-ass years in Los Angeles having won a Super Bowl? That market's going to be a little funny because you know why? They only care when you win. They don't show up if you're 9-7. If you're 10-7, they're not going to show up. Maybe Hassan Reddick, Howie isn't even paying him top 15 money at the edge. The value of a top edge rusher right now is $28 million. That's a great one, Tone. And Tony's right there with some of the best pass rushers, and he's a Pro Bowler. Davis was I'll tell you what, Tyler. I think Davis was a really good pick. I don't know, great pick yet. We'll see. Because to me on Davis, he's got to be more than a run stopper. Now, if you're okay with him being Vince Wilfork and being the 13th pick, okay. You're okay with that pick then. But like the 11th pick or whatever he was there, you got to be a little bit more than, just a run stopper. I'd like to see a little more. If I had to pick a guy, and a guy that I had been at the beginning of the year killing, I think the move that Howie's made this offseason, I think it's the Reddick move. Because it's what Tone said. Dude, you're not paying this guy big money. And big money with edge rushers, these guys are $25 million guys. And he's a Pro Bowler, and he's giving you $25 million return on the investment. Look, there's been a ton of moves. He's made a ton of moves. Ton of moves. I have never in my entire life seen a general manager make as many moves as he has made, and they have worked. Usually, the team that doesn't make the ton of moves has always been the most successful teams. Jalen Hurts has obviously carried the team, and he has been the most important player on the team. His development has been remarkable, especially in the passing game. I didn't think he'd improve as much as he has. I mean, Hassan Reddick over the last 7 weeks has outplayed Michael Parsons. He hasn't outplayed Nick Bosa. Bosa's the best edge rusher in the game right now. And I think he's the best D lineman in the game. And that includes Aaron Donald. Because he played, get this. You know why I say it's Bosa the best D lineman? He plays on the number one defense in the NFL. He's an edge rushing terror. And you could see it in his tackling. I mean, I think you've got to play on the best unit to be considered the player of the year. I don't think Michael Parsons playing on a defense, giving up 500 yards of total offense to the Jaguars, albeit they may be a playoff team. Remarkable. Congratulations to Hassan Reddick. He shut my hole up. Absolutely. Pro Bowl year, factor, impact. They figured, you know what? Crazy to say this, Jonathan Gannon figured it out where other places couldn't figure it out. You have to give Jonathan Gannon credit for this. As much as it pains me to say, it's truthful. Reddick figured out the Rubik's Cube known as Hassan Reddick. Arizona couldn't figure out the Rubik's Cube. Carolina couldn't figure out the Rubik's Cube. But Jonathan Gannon figured it out. He figured it out. How do I use this guy? It took a couple weeks. See, it shows you my mentality. I'm not very patient. Maybe that's why I don't like Gannon, because I don't like patient D coordinators. I like people that get after your ass. And again, it's not really common to see that kind of shit, but you're seeing more of that. Look at Robert Saleh. Last night, his quarterback, I said it from day one, Zach Allen sucks, and he'll never be anybody. But remember, the Jets' defense was the worst in the league last year. Pretty good this year. They're pretty good. I say Hassan Reddick has been Howie Roseman. Best offseason move. You're not paying him a ton, and he's giving you a ton of production. Ton of production. All right, let's go over to this other topic here. Going into this Dallas game, there is so much in common with your 2017 football team. I don't think your coaching is anything near the 2017 team. But I do think this. The one thing that is comparable, how dynamic that you've been in your front seven on defense and how great that O-line is. 3 starting dudes on the NFC Pro Bowl reside in Philadelphia. And the other 2 guys are not chopped liver. Isaac Seumalo is a heck of a ball player. Jordan Mailata, if he didn't get hurt this year, would probably be a Pro Bowler. That is such a great, like I said, that line is as good a line since the Nate Newton and Kevin Gogan and Larry Allen Dallas Cowboy line. That's how good that line is. They're as good as that line, I think. Now, Miles is a good back, but he's not Emmett. What side of the football has been the most impressive? This 13-1 year, offense or defense? What side has been the most impressive? I thought about this last night. God, the Eagles are like number one across the board in almost every defensive statistic. The offense has improved even more so than what they did. They're still number two in rushing. What has impressed you the most? The offensive side of the ball or the defensive side of the ball? Howie has been more focused on the defensive side of the ball, hasn't he? Well, he went out and got Joseph and Sue. Can you imagine this too? So you're building a boat. You build the boat. You send it out to sea. It starts taking water on. And like the Titanic, when it hits the iceberg, instead of sinking, Howie gets two dudes to fix the boat. And it sails into harbor. That's what Roseman did. This guy's like an engineer. Two things they needed. We got to stop the run. Or all what we're doing in the secondary is just going to go for naught, and those guys are going to get beat up in the secondary. We got to do something. Got two dudes at the ice cream stand. That's hard, man. Boy, the way they run the ball, man, the way they just kick people's asses on offense is so impressive. Miles Sanders has been so good when they use him. But I gotta say, man, that secondary, I'm trying to think of great secondaries over the last 15 years. Patriots had a couple of them with Revis back there. Any defense that Darrelle Revis played on was going to be a top-flight secondary. Those Patriot secondaries during the Super Bowl run, very underrated. Very underrated secondaries. They were fabulous secondaries. I mean, you couldn't name any other guys. Vince Wilfork, Chandler Jones was there for a little bit. Then they sent his ass to Arizona, right? I mean, there weren't really massive edge rushers. Teddy Bruschi, Mike Vrabel. Legion of Boom, very good now. Very good. Legion of Boom with Chandler. Yeah. Those guys were fantastic back there. And get this, I don't know if any of them were first-round draft choices, what he did back there. But again, why was he able to do that? Carroll was able to build that defense on the side of the ball. Why? Because Russell Wilson wasn't making a shitload of money. He was a third-round guy. Right? Cam Chancellor was a late pick. I don't know if Richard Sherman was a first-rounder. I'm not sure, and I don't think. Michael Bennett, their pass rusher, was a guy they got from Tampa who was released by the Saints. The linebacking core was fabulous. Most of that team got built with ones. Most of that was not built with ones. Kind of funny, that Seattle team, that Seattle defense kind of resembles a little bit what the Eagles are doing in 2022, right? Remember, Michael Bennett. Michael Bennett was a Saints cast-off, went to the Bucs. The Bucs lost him in free agency, and he went up to Seattle. Turned out to be one of the best pass rushers in the sport. Cam Chancellor was a late-round pick. Bobby Wagner, all them guys. They were able to build the team because the quarterback wasn't making a killing yet. See, I want to show you something else here. One thing you got to remember with Jalen here, too. Look at early part of Russell Wilson's career. Russell Wilson, early part of his career, they won more games. They were more dominant of a team. When they paid him, it went away. That's what the league does that by design. They do that by design. They start losing the center who had to go to New Orleans. They start losing wide receivers. Beast mode retires. Russell Wilson gets paid. Change the dynamic there. Earl Thomas was great. Was great. Boy, for me, man, I think it's the defensive side of the ball. It's been impressive. They really and I get this, and I kill that defensive coordinator. And I just think, watch this. Hey, I just think it's style and taste. That's all it is, because you can't argue with his results. So it's more of a problem with me. Because he could turn around and go, number one in turnovers, number one in sacks. We've improved the run defense. Dude, what do you want from me? He's right. He's right. And eSports says Hurts could play as a mobile quarterback. I didn't say he couldn't play. He just won't last long. I'm not on the GAN wagon. Nope. Big Silz is not on the GAN wagon. Dan, you think our defense wrecks shop on Saturday? Be the key to the game. Dallas has got a good old line. I'm going to look at Dallas's numbers here, too, with players. I don't think their running game is as good as your running game. However, I do think the quarterback is better than Jalen at play action. For Dallas to win that game on Saturday, they've got to be third and short almost the entire ball game. And they've got to win the clock. You can't have this with the Cowboys. 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Minshew's going to find somebody. You keep giving offensive sequences back to the offense. He's going to find somebody. You want to limit plays for the Eagles. Dude, the Eagles, I told you, if the Eagles have 4 drives of 12 or more plus plays, that game will be 41-17 Philly. If they own the clock, this thing will be like one of the worst games of the weekend. Dallas has to be third and short, play action. And, dude, some of these other guys on the Cowboys, dude, there is no way that Cowboy wide receiving core is good. Sure, they got Lamb. They have nobody else. They have nobody else. There's just a bunch of guys there. Shit, Quez Watkins would be the best number 2 on Dallas today. If Quez was in Dallas, he'd be their number 2. He'd be their number 2 guy. Here, look at Dallas by the numbers here. Where is it? Here. Here's Dallas by the numbers. Dak, 2103 in yards, missed a boatload of games. 17 touchdowns, 11 picks. Again, they're high volume in throwing the ball. So those picks don't bug me. Now, situational turnovers do. That bugs me. But 11 turnovers for a team that throws the ball 500 to 600 times a year, that's not going to bug me. The percentages would be low. Jalen doesn't throw the ball. He throws the ball 200 times less than these other teams. That's why his number's down. You got 3 picks throwing 200 times less. Okay. And Josh Allen has 700 attempts, and he's got 11 picks. I don't know. To me, it's the same. Now, the situational turnovers kill it. I told you this before. Throwing the football is a high percentage turnover play. Tips, fumbles, wide receivers not in the right route, guy falls. Running the ball is the safest thing you can do on protecting turnovers. Jalen's efficiency has been top 5? Of course it has. He throws the ball 200 times less. 93.8 quarterback rating? Not bad. I told you, man, this guy's got to win this game on Saturday, Dak Prescott. Here's the running back numbers. Tony Pollard's had a great year, 969, 9 touchdowns, 5.5 yards a carry. He is their best back and probably most versatile back. You could put him in the slot, line him up out wide. He's effective in the pass game. Elliott, 774, 10 touchdowns. He's more of a red. You know what Zeke Elliott's turned himself into? Zeke Elliott has turned himself more into a red zone back for Dallas. I think the guy that they use from 20 to 20, Dallas, is Tony Pollard. And I think Zeke Elliott, as they get into the 20-yard line going in, or with their backs with the goalpost, I think they like to use Zeke there. Zeke's pretty handy with the ball. It doesn't really turn it over a lot. And he's a pretty good back on getting those mean yards. Is he the same back he was 3 years ago before he signed that deal and he was down in Cabo? No. So he's kind of turned into a LeGarrette Blount kind of guy, in my opinion. I think he's more like that kind of guy, a LeGarrette Blount dude. And this guy Pollard is the 20-20 dude. Gets out in open space, does a really nice job on one-on-one with people trying to get him on the turf. Tony Pollard's a good player. And I'll tell you what really saves Jerry Jones. Zeke Elliott makes $15 million a year. Tony Pollard makes $836,000 a year. That's how you're okay with it. If you're Stephen Jones, the VP of business, you're going like this. Hey, man, Zeke ain't the guy, but the other guy is the guy. So you kind of balance that. Still a high number against your cap. Pollard's great. Wide receiver. Watch this. CeeDee Lamb, 81 catches, 1,087. 6 TDs, 77 yards a game. Okay. Very good. Here's the next guy, Noah Brown, 533 yards, 3 touchdowns, 40 yards a game. That's their number 2. Shit. Just in talent alone as a group. The Eagles, would you ever imagine you got a $45 million quarterback in Dallas and you got a shit wide receiving core? That's why they tried to get Brandon Cooks from Houston. They tried to get Brandon Cooks from Houston, but they couldn't. Why? Zeke's money. Shit, they dumped Amari Cooper. There's nothing in that building. Again, guys, I know I picked Dallas to win this game on Saturday. Do you know why I picked Dallas to win this game on Saturday? I cannot believe that the Cowboys can lose to Gardner Minshew and survive in the postseason. Do I think that Eagle team will beat them? Boy, I'll tell you, man, it was hard for me to say that today. You pay a guy $45 million, he can't shit the bed against Gardner Minshew. Hey, he's going to be motivated. Mike Leach. I got all that. And you know what's killing me? Hey, Fly, T.Y. Hilton. So T.Y. Hilton has been working at a floor shop somewhere in South Florida. And all of a sudden now he's going to turn into Drew Pearson. Okay. Sure, of course, only in Dallas, right? He turns into Des Bryant. Yeah, right? Fly, here's the new Des Bryant, who's been sitting at a floor shop putting arrangements together and, hey, you want to come play some ball with me here in Big D? Yeah. It's better than putting Flowers arrangements together. Got to be kidding me, man. Noah Brown's got 533. Guys, Cowboys don't. Hey, I'm only picking Dallas because I can't believe they can lose a game to a backup quarterback and call themselves a playoff contender. Like watch this. Silz, who do you think is more of a playoff contender, Minnesota or Dallas? Yeah, but Dallas beat them. I don't care. Playoffs come. Dallas melts like a piece of butter in a pan. That's why I call them the Dallas Chernobyls. Hey, not that Kirk Cousins is any better in the postseason. There's some really shitty quarterbacks in the NFC playoffs this year. That's why they want Jalen healthy. Dude, watch this. Here's a secret. I think you're going to beat them, but I can't put my name on it. I'm going to go 26-24 Dallas. But there's I'm conflicted, man. You pay a man $45 million, and if he loses that game on Saturday, hey, can I get a refund? Can I get a refund on that? Dak Prescott, every time he gets into situations to win, shits the bed. Every time. Watch this. Is he a great guy? Yes. Is he a guy you'd want to have as the face of your franchise? Absolutely. Does he win big games? Absolutely not. You know who my wife's favorite quarterback is? It's Joe Montana. You know why? Joe don't lose. You know what Montana's numbers are in Super Bowls? He's got 13 touchdowns, no picks, 138 quarterback rating. I mean, no picks, like 13 or 15 like touchdowns, and he's 4-0 in those games. And by the way, he didn't beat Eli Manning. He beat John Elway, Dan Marino. I mean, guys like that. Hall of Fame quarterbacks. Wasn't like he was beating donkeys. Shit, even Boomer Esiason he beat was an MVP that year in 89, I believe. Mitchell goes, come on, Silz. You know Philly wins the game. I can't believe a backup quarterback could beat a $45 million guy. No. Hey, if they beat them, it'll be the proudest time of me singing Fly, Eagles, Fly on Tuesday. Because guess what that does? That buries the lead on the Cowboys. Buries them. Buries them. Do you know that Jerry Jones' biggest thing he's trying to do right now before he dies? Jerry Jones wants to win a Super Bowl. Saying that I did it without Jimmy. He's not going to do it. As a matter of fact, I'm rooting against him. Because of the relationship on how those two guys ended it. I'm a Jimmy guy. I'll always be. Obviously, I'm biased. I'll always be a Coach Johnson guy. If Jerry Jones was such a smart businessman, he's replaced Aikman, Romo. You know, he's replaced Emmett with Zeke. He's replaced Michael Irvin with Des Bryant, CeeDee Lamb. He's replaced all these guys, except the one guy, Jimmy. Any coincidence to that? I don't think so. I don't think there's a coincidence to that. Jerry Jones is going to croak without a ring. Well, he does have 3 now. He hangs his hat on that, saying that he made all the moves, which is not true. He made none of those moves. And then you got like a dumbass like Skip Bayless telling you that he did the Charles Haley deal. He did not do the Charles Haley deal. Everyone knows who did the Charles Haley deal. It was Jimmy and Bob Ackles, who actually worked for the Eagles and Ray Rhodes for a little bit. Yeah, Fly, he tried with Parcells when Parcells told him, remember something. Do you guys remember how Tony Romo got to Dallas? It wasn't Jerry. It was Parcells. He found Romo. Parcells found Romo. He was undrafted. No one gave him a chance. Bill liked him. Bill liked him. Didn't Switzer win one? Yeah. Barry won one with Jimmy's guys. Sure did. Sure did. Top of the hour, we're going to talk more about the MVP race. I'm going to show you why Jalen can't win it. I think there's a situation and some circumstances on how he can win it. Okay? I think there's a way. Silz, if Dak loses, it's safe to say that Dak is ass. Jesse, if Dak loses that game, wow, the backlash on him will be gargantuan. And you're an Eagle fan, you want that. Dude, those Eagle guys, man, they're going to play. I think this game's a pride game. I think the media now kind of hasn't really put it in the centerpiece, like it should, because Jalen's not playing. But to me, the Eagle fan base and the Cowboy fan base, I think this is a pride and bragging rights kind of game. And I think there's a lot of things surrounding this here. Watch this. Just a couple. Gardner Minshew. He's auditioning for 31 other teams, maybe even the Eagles, to stay as the backup. I don't know. Miles Sanders. So let me put this out there to you. If Miles Sanders puts up 145 yards rushing against the Cowboys, do you know the amount of money that guy's going to make in the offseason in Kansas City, Buffalo, Baltimore, or Miami? Or Los Angeles with the Rams? He's a free agent at the end of the year. No contract on the table and no talks. Eagles are not re-signing him because you know why? They won't be able to afford him. He's going to be 1,300. 13 touchdowns. Dude, that's a $10 million guy. Howie's not paying $10 million for that guy? Not happening. Not when you got to address the quarterback. Sydney, no one said he doesn't deserve it. Dude, I am really looking forward to see how this thing plays out. We're going to miss Miles? Yes. Same way Russell Wilson missed beast mode. Right? Can Bills afford him? I'll have to look at the cap for next year for Buffalo. It's a good question. Kansas City will. Kansas City will be able to afford him. Last time I seen McNabb choked against the Cowboys. Texas boy, I know a lot of people in Philly like Donovan. I don't. I think McNabb, in my opinion, was petty. I think he bitched too much. I think he complained all the time. And I don't think he produced in big moments. Other than that, he was a good player. Yeah. Other than that, he was a good player. But at the end of the day, he didn't win shit, man. Okay? Just what it is. And the arguments he would have in the media about his teammates. Nobody does that. Even if the quarterback doesn't like the guy you're playing with. You appease that guy because you know why? You need him. Even Brady knew that. Brady had a murderer in the locker next to him for 4 years in New England. He made it so that Urban Meyer said this guy needs a lot of attention. So you know what Brady did? Brady put a murderer next to him in the locker room. A murderer. And he turned him into an all-pro. Even if you didn't like him. You know, I have a funny thing before we go to a timeout here. I always said this. If Aaron Hernandez wasn't a murderer, and that double tight end set that they were running and starting to develop with Bill O'Brien in New England, with Gronk and Aaron Hernandez, the league wasn't prepared to defend that. They couldn't defend that. I personally think that Hernandez is better than Travis Kelce. He would have been better than Travis Kelce. Remember, he murdered the guy. The Patriots gave him a contract extension. And when he was in the can on death row, Bob Kraft and those guys tried to renege on it. Aaron Hernandez was a first-round talent who went in the 4th or 5th because of his behavior. That's why they put him next to Brady in the locker room. Belichick used to text him every day. Brady talked to him every day. When asked if they thought they were surprised that he was a murderer, they said both no. Crazy. I know, man. I know, man. I know. Unbelievable. MVP race. Week 16 of the National Football League. Don't forget my boy Philly 500 in hour number 3 at 500 at 5:30. Please hit the like button. Christmas time, man. I appreciate everybody being here today. Thank you guys so much. Please hit the like button. Keep it here on the